I was lying in a hospital bed, tubes in my arm, monitors beeping, and I called my mom. She laughed. Not a nervous laugh. Not an "oh my God, are you okay?" laugh. She laughed like I'd told a bad joke. And then she said, and I will never forget these words, "Don't call us for help." And then she hung up. I want to talk about that today. Because if you've ever had a parent respond to your pain with coldness, with mockery, or with silence, this video is for you. Before I go further, let me give you some context, because I don't want this to feel like I'm just bashing my mom for views. This is something I've processed in therapy for years, and I'm sharing it because I know I'm not alone. I was hospitalized. It was serious. It was scary. But I think somewhere deep down, I always believed that if things got really bad, like hospital level bad, she'd show up. That was the lie I'd been telling myself. That moment in the hospital was a reckoning. Because you can only make excuses for someone for so long before reality forces you to see clearly. Here's what I've learned. What my mom did, and what a lot of your parents may have done too, has a name. It's called emotional neglect. And in some cases it crosses into emotional abuse. Emotionally neglectful parents don't always scream at you. Sometimes they just aren't there. They're physically present but emotionally unavailable. They've never learned to sit with discomfort, their own or yours. So when you show up in pain, it triggers something in them. And instead of reaching toward you, they pull away. They minimize. They mock. They disappear. I want to name some of the patterns that many of you watching might recognize. Your pain is met with eye rolls or laughter. You're told you're too much or too sensitive. You're expected to be the emotional caretaker for them. Your achievements are ignored while your failures are highlighted. Anytime you set a limit, you become the villain. Does any of that sound familiar? Because if it does, I need you to hear me. That is not love. That is not normal. And it was never your fault. You did not deserve to have your hospitalization laughed at. Full stop. No child, no person deserves that. Here's the part that took me the longest to understand, and that I don't think gets talked about enough in the toxic family conversation online. Grieving a parent who is still alive is one of the loneliest things a person can do, because people expect you to be grieving a death. They bring casseroles. They say, "I'm so sorry." But when you're mourning the parent you never had, the one who should have shown up and didn't, most people don't know what to say. They might even say things like, "But she's your mom," or "family is family," or "she probably did the best she could." And maybe she did. But doing your best doesn't mean your child doesn't get to hurt. It doesn't mean your child has to keep pretending things are fine. After that phone call from the hospital, something shifted in me. I stopped hoping she would become the mom I needed. And I started grieving that she never would be. That grief is real. It is valid. And if you're in it right now, I see you. So let me talk about what I did. Not what you should do. Because everyone's situation is different. But what helped me? First, I got a therapist. Specifically, someone who specializes in family of origin trauma. This was not optional for me. Trying to process this alone was like trying to do surgery on yourself. I needed someone trained to help me see patterns I couldn't see on my own. Second, I stopped performing normalcy. For years I'd show up to family dinners, smile, keep the peace. I was exhausted from pretending. I started giving myself permission to reduce contact. Then eventually, and this was the right choice for me, to step back further. Third, I built a chosen family. This is a concept that I think is especially resonant for a lot of us in the US, where we've been sold this idea that blood is everything. But I found friends, real ones, who showed up for me in ways my family never did, who called when I was in the hospital, who sat with me, who brought food. Fourth, I stopped waiting for an apology. This one was the hardest, because I wanted her to say she was sorry. I wanted her to get it, but waiting for that apology was keeping me chained to pain. The apology may never come, and my healing couldn't be contingent on her growth. If you're watching this because something in the title hit you, I want to speak directly to you for a second. You are not crazy for being hurt by this. The fact that she's your mom or your dad or your family does not make the wound smaller. If anything, it makes it bigger, because it came from the person who was supposed to be your first safe place. And if you're still in it, if you still have to see them, still have to coexist at holidays, still have to navigate their manipulation or their guilt trips, I want you to know that choosing yourself is not selfish. Setting limits is not cruel. You do not owe anyone unlimited access to you, including your parents. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to build a life that feels safe, even if that means creating distance from people who share your blood. And if you're in a hard season right now, if you're the one in the hospital and you can't believe the people who were supposed to love you aren't showing up, please reach out to a crisis line, a therapist, a friend, a neighbor. Reach out. You do not have to white-knuckle this alone. The silence of a parent is loud, but it does not define your worth. It defines their limits. I'm going to close with this. I don't hate my mom. I genuinely don't. But I have accepted something that took me a long time to accept. Some people are not capable of giving you what you need, and you can love them from a distance while still protecting yourself. That phone call from the hospital broke something in me, but it also set something free, because I stopped waiting. I stopped shrinking. I stopped performing for an audience that was never going to applaud. And I started building, slowly, imperfectly, a life that actually felt like mine. If you're on that road, I'm right there with you. Drop a comment below. Tell me your story if you're comfortable, or just say, I needed this today. I read everything. If this video helped you, share it with someone who might need it. Subscribe if you want more honest conversations like this one. And take care of yourself today. Seriously, do one thing today that's just for you. I'll see you in the next one.